My name is Ron Ruggiero, and I'm the president of SEIU Local 105. We are a union of 8,000 members who work in healthcare and property services, and we're one of the fastest growing unions in the state of Colorado. So we're proud to represent our healthcare members, our janitors, our security officers, mental health workers, and airport workers across Colorado and Denver Metro. So today we're really excited to announce our endorsements this morning. But before I do that, I do want to thank the members and the member leaders on our political action committee and our executive board, who over just the last couple of weeks have spent well over 20 hours in different interviews with candidates and also reviewing various ballot measures for our organization to consider for action. I am so proud to lead a democratically run and member-led union. Democracy is not always easy or simple, but it is the foundation of what our country is based upon and what our union is based upon. And I'm proud to lead this organization every single day. We take very seriously who we endorse because we need candidates and politicians who get behind us, because we know that we have been living in a crisis in this country for really decades. And those crises are rooted in the economic and racial injustice that have gone on far too long in our country. And the pandemic, just really shined a spotlight on those fractures and those crises and those problems that have plagued us again for far too long. And since the beginning of the outbreak of this pandemic and the first stay-at-home orders in our city and our state, essential workers, including our members, have had to fight for personal protective equipment. And I could give you a million stories of that, but I'll just give you one. We had workers in the home care sector who were making masks out of paper towels for months into this pandemic because they did not have adequate personal protective equipment from their employer. Our members and workers have had to fight for essential pay, paid sick leave, while continuing to put their lives on the line and their health and the health of their families on the line every single day to keep our economy and our society functioning. We owe them the deepest well of gratitude. Meanwhile, and in contrast, the billionaires in this country have grown their wealth just in the 6 months of this pandemic by over $800 billion. And every couple of weeks, that number gets updated and it's bigger than it was before. And that's a big number, hard to wrap your head around. So I'll give you one way to wrap your head around it. If Jeff Bezos, just one of those billionaires, gave every single child born in America in this entire year of 2020, if he gave every single child born in this country $24,000 check, he would still have the same wealth, which was already enormous, that he had before the pandemic. And that's what we talk about. It's one of the examples of what we talk about what has been wrong with our society and our economy for, again, far too long. Because no matter where you come from or what color your skin is, our communities, we deserve and need elected leaders who will fight for better working conditions, who will fight for, raising wages once again in this country, which really hasn't happened for about 40 years. Increasing benefits for people, ending systematic racism in this country, achieving justice for immigrants and women, dealing with climate change, fighting for the rights of the LGBTQ community, and a whole host of other issues. That is what we deserve and need. So it goes without saying, this is the most important election in our lifetime. And there's more at stake than there's ever been. But here's the thing. By coming together, I know that we can win. because that's what working people do. Throughout this country's history, when we've had our greatest challenges, it is also when people have come together across their differences and risen up and organized and joined together to meet that challenge and propel this country forward to make it a better country for everyone. We have made the way before as working people, and we're going to make the way again, because that's what we do. We make the way and build the path to a better future. Not the giant corporations, not some greedy billionaires and certain politicians and greedy special interests, but it is us, working people. It's janitors, it's healthcare workers, airport workers, and all workers across our economy and our society. We make the way, and it's time we remind everyone of that, because we're going to continue to do that going into this election and then beyond. So with that, I want to introduce Michael Howard, who is the president of our Political Action Committee at SEIU 105. So I'm going to turn it over to Michael Howard.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks for being here this morning with us. My name is Michael Howard. I am the president of the COPE committee. I've been affiliated with SEIU Local 105 for 11 years, and I am proud to say that I'm glad I am affiliated with this organization, because we're out there fighting for the rights of all people. It doesn't matter your skin color, your religious beliefs. It doesn't even matter what zip code you live in. We're out there to advocate on behalf of all working folks. I'm really excited about unveiling our endorsements for the year. And I thought we had a great process to get there. But before we do that, I would like to talk about the questions that we asked during our interviews. It's kind of funny. 5 years ago, my colleagues and I, behind our leader, our political director, Andy Jacobs, we came up with questions that we wanted to address candidates and different folks running for office to get a beat on how they want to advocate and support the agendas that we fight for. Some things like income inequality, the economy and how it impacts people of color, the national violence of harassment for Black and brown people, the LGBT community. I can go on and on and on. But the thing that really makes me mad and has me a little upset is that we fast forward 5 years from the time that we put out these questions. I see no change. As a matter of fact, there are some things that are stay the same, or some are even worse than what they were 5 years ago. That's the thing that's disheartening for me. I'm hopeful that within another 5 years, we are asking different questions. Even better than that, hopefully in 2 years, we're asking different questions. We'll just see how that goes. But at any rate, here's our 2020 endorsements. Thank you very much.
was such a great video, seeing so many awesome and strong political leaders from across our state. And we have some of them with us today to share some words. So it's my honor and privilege to first introduce and turn over the microphone to Congressman Crowe, who has been a leader with us and an ally, has literally walked the line with our members in a whole bunch of different fights for justice. So with that, I'll turn over to you, Jason. Thank you for being here today.
Thanks, Ron. I hope you all can see and hear me. I'm in the car actually this morning. I'm campaigning around the district, was just down in Highlands Ranch and now in Greenwood Village. And we're just out delivering our message, delivering the message about who we are and who we represent and how we're going to move the country forward, delivering the message about American labor and American workers and how, if you want a strong middle class, you want a vibrant economy, then you'll support labor, because it's labor that delivers clean and safe working conditions, that delivers good pay and good benefits, that delivers the mentorship and the brotherhood and sisterhood that's so important. So, it's just I'm so honored and privileged to earn the support again of SEIU and to be here with my brothers and sisters of labor and in the SEIU union in particular. A lot of discussion has been had in the last few months about frontline workers. We've heard a lot about frontline workers, but when you get beyond that title and you look at who it is, who are the frontline workers? Well, in so many instances, it's the men and women of SEIU, that are making sure that we actually keep the country moving, that we keep our state and our community moving, that many times they've done it at great personal risk to themselves and their families. And we owe nothing less than the best to these men and women and the men and women of SEIU. So because you have stood up during not just this last 6 months during the pandemic, but for decades to keep our country and to keep our community moving and to do your work, I will always have your back. And Ron, as you said earlier, the top 1%, they're doing just fine, right? They're making tons of money. They're making more money than they've ever made. The top corporations, the billionaires, and then, the rest of us are left to suffer. It's the frontline workers, it's the members of SEIU and the other unions that are left short and are left to struggle. Well, at the same time, it's all of you that actually are doing the work to keep our country and community moving. It's not fair. It's not okay. And I'm going to continue to work hard in Washington to make sure that to the men of SEIU, so we can build a strong, vibrant country and community. So with that, I'm so honored again for your endorsement and for your support. And you can count on me to have your back. So with that, I think I'm supposed to pass it over to, I don't know if I pass it back to you, Ron, or pass it to my very good friend, Chris Colker, who I think is next, who's running for state Senate, a true servant leader, somebody who's going to flip this seat and bring a voice back to the people of the community. But whether it's you, Ron, or Chris, it's so good to be with you.
Thank you, Jason and Congressman Crowe. And I cannot have done a better introduction. So with that, I'm going to go over to Chris Colker, again, candidate in Senate District 27.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for the endorsement, SEIU. I am so proud to be the son of a union member. My dad was 33 years UAW, and proud to have this endorsement. It means so much to me to get labor support in all areas because I grew up with things that we think of, what we're fighting for the general population. What we're fighting for the general population is healthcare. This is what labor brings to the table. We're fighting for some kind of livable wage. When I started a minimum wage job in 1988, when I was a junior in high school, it was $3.35 an hour. Today, it's $7.25 an hour. And I'm a certified financial planner. Nobody's going to live off of $7.25 an hour. And it's because of labor that we raised the healthcare standards, we raised the coverages, and we raised the income. And we need to continue to push, even though it's only $12 an hour here in this state, it's still not enough, okay? $7.25 for the national minimum wage is not enough. The poverty level for an individual is $12,000 a year. If you make a minimum wage working 40 hours a week for 50 weeks, it's $15,000. You're basically at poverty level. we got to keep that fight spreading here in Colorado and spread it out throughout this country. So when we think of labor, we think of what you're doing for everyone. We think of how you're bringing this to the table of equity for all. It is healthcare. It is social justice. It is basic human rights. And that's the way we have to think of these. The livable wage, our healthcare is a basic human right, and you keep fighting for it, and your support for it, support for candidates like myself, support for Congressman Crowe, and for the next candidate who I am proud to support, David Ortiz. That is what we see from SEIU. That's what we see from labor. And we're going to keep fighting up. We're going to keep fighting for this too. So you've got my back. I got your back. Let's keep it moving. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Chris. Again, powerful words, and just the energy and enthusiasm. I just love to see it. And so our next person that was able to take a few minutes off the campaign trail today to join us is a candidate for House District 38, David Ortiz. And I'll just say two quick things. One is, you know, he's done service to this country in our military. So I want to thank him for his service. And then also David, and this applies to Chris and Jason and all the other folks on that list earlier, but it was just great hearing from a number of our members on our COPE, which is our political action committee, that participated in those interviews, how excited they were about the candidates, and obviously including you, David, coming up. So with that, I'll turn it over to you.
Ron and Chris, thanks for that. Yeah, my name is David Ortiz. I'm running for the Colorado State House in House District 38, which is Littleton, western parts of Centennial, Columbine Valley, and parts of Columbine Valley and Beaumont neighborhoods. So, you know, union and labor has come in a huge way, not just in this campaign, but in all of our lives. And a cornerstone of my lifetime of public service is I Am, We Are. And in working with a lot of the union organizations and union members, there's a lot of similarities between the veteran community and union membership that I've noticed. Because they know what it is to sacrifice and work hard for their brother and sister to the left and right of them. You know, we just had Labor Day not too long ago, and there's a history behind that they don't teach you in schools. They don't teach you about the protests. They don't teach you about about how hard they had to fight to abolish child labor, for minimum wages, for benefits, for holidays. These are the sacrifices that they made before we were even around, that they don't teach you about. And I think that's something that any veteran or service member can relate to, is that whether you're just starting out in the military or you've been serving for 20 or 30 years, it is about your brother and sister to your left and your right, and leaving things better for the next generation of workers and the sacrifices that you're putting in today. And we have a real opportunity in 2020 to make sure that we vote and speak to those values. You know, I got to sing Chris Colker's praises a little bit here, because I think true leadership is one that does the work and does the sacrifice and inspires and shows you what's possible. And in 2018, he showed us that flipping the seat was possible. 374 voters decided this race in 2018. So when someone tells you that your work doesn't matter, when someone tells you that your vote doesn't matter, don't believe them, because I'm here to tell you that it does. Everything that you're doing, whether you're fighting for working families, whether you're fighting for the safety of workers for benefits, or whether you're supporting candidates that you believe in, is going to work in helping get our values represented. And ultimately, that's proving and showing that there is dignity in all work. And at the end of it, we should be fighting to make healthcare right, to making more opportunities for affordable, attainable healthcare, and for affordable, attainable housing. These are the things that this list of candidates, I know they stand for, and that this organization, SEIU, stands for. And I'm so proud to be endorsed by them and to stand shoulder to shoulder, or I guess sit in my case, shoulder to shoulder with them, and do the hard work to make sure we're flipping seats up and down the ticket and making sure we're getting our values represented and supporting the working family. We're trying to create an economy that works for all and that brings dignity back to all workers. Because I think we've seen in COVID-19 who really are the essential workers. And it might not have been who we thought, you know, at the forefront of our mind. Most of us have known this the entire time, but I think COVID-19 has really focused our attention on what is truly essential and what really matters. So thank you guys for your endorsement. I'm excited to work with y'all to keep advancing the issues that we care about here. And with that, I'm gonna be proud to introduce Pedro Carrillo.
Thank you, David Ortiz. Good morning. My name is Pedro Carrillo. I'm really excited to be supporting the candidates who joined us this morning, who we know will be fighting for working families. I'm a SEIU Local 105 member since 2007. I work as a janitor in the downtown, biggest, tallest buildings here in Colorado, in Denver. I'm also a vice president of COPE, and that's why I'll be proud to be SEIU Local 105 and selecting these people to working for us. This election is so important, and we need everyone to volunteer and be engaged. We'll be doing Saturdays evenings starting now and through to elections, and we'll have a lot of other opportunities as well to help these candidates be elected this year. This 2020 elections is really hard for us because we have to work close to shoulders to electing really good people to help us. Look at the chat for our links for volunteer opportunities and sign up as interested in volunteering, not just for David Ortiz or for another candidates, just for us, for the people, because we need these candidates got to elected and help us change all this mess we have right now. We have a chance to elect champions for working families, but it is only going to happen if we get out there and help and get people to vote. Remember, we need to vote. You need to vote for us, for the people who doesn't have a speak, for the people who doesn't have the right to vote right now, for everybody, to change our lives, to change our, to get the opportunity, a lot of people, to be better lives, better works, and in the jobs, better opportunity to grow up. We have families, and we have a lot of families who needs the help these candidates give us. So please volunteer and vote. Thank you and have a great day. Thank you for being with us.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Pedro, and appreciate your leadership in our union, both on our executive board, on the COPE committee as the vice president of that's our political action committee, and also every single day at work. So just to kind of close this out, I'll say a few final things. And there is, no question that we are living in a moment where our top quote unquote leader in this country is stoking fear and division. And people may or may not agree with that, what he's saying, but that is what he's doing. And I want to say something that I have said to our board members many times, which is you should always beware of any leader that seeks to hold or get power based upon fear and division. And I speak from experience. Pedro and Michael as members of our executive board, myself as the president, we are elected every 3 years. So I'm not talking from lack of knowledge of what it means to run for election in a way that builds something. And leaders who lead, because it is weak leaders who seek power through fear and division. And strong leaders, they seek to serve the members and the public with vision and hope and a plan to actually make the country better, particularly for working people. So that is one of the things that's at issue. So I do want to close with what unites us. We've talked about a lot of things, and I appreciate the speakers spoke to this as well, but it's such a critical issue right now. We are united. I don't care what color your skin is. I don't care where you were born, whether or not you're urban or rural, young or old, what your religion is. Every single person wants a better life for their children. Every single person wants their neighbor to be okay, right? That is a fundamental human value that connects us. It is our humanity. So that unites us. Now, for working people, there's a whole bunch of other stuff that unites us that the billionaires don't have. which is we are united by the stress of trying to live in this economy that is rigged against us, both economically, racially, and otherwise. The stress of paying the bills, the stress of can you afford to go to the doctor or not? You know, the stress of trying to save for maybe your kid's college. We live with that every single day. So that also unites working people. And when you listen to politicians who want to try to split working people up based on different things, just keep this one thing in mind. There really is only one group of people in this entire country who have a better life than they did 40 or 50 years ago. And that's the top 1%. That's the billionaires. That is the only group. So when you hear some politicians want to talk about immigrants, this or that, or black folks, this and that, or union members, this and that, you know, all the things they do, remember that there is only one group that's better off. And what unites us is far more powerful than any small differences we might have. And the final thing I'll just comment that also unites us, and I've talked to a lot of workers and I've worked in different parts of the country, different colors, immigrants, non-immigrants, different languages. You know what people also all want? They all want to live their life with the freedom and dignity that they deserve. Not just for them, not just to survive, but to actually thrive. And as we've talked about how our systems, our political and economic and societal systems have been broken now for, you know, a very long time, right? That's been lost. And that is what all working people deserve. And I will just come back to what I kind of opened this with is that is what it is fundamentally, it is these values that are at stake in this election. We could talk about all the different issues, but these are some of the values that fundamentally unite us as people. And as we go forward over the next 50 some days, let us all remember that. And let us remember, and I think some of the previous speakers spoke to this about the achievements on raising minimum wage or labor rights, or, you know, every single advance in this country has come when we have come together across our so-called differences. And that's why I say so-called, because what unites us is far bigger than whether or not my skin's lighter than yours, right? We all want the same things. We all deserve the same things. We are going to make the way on November 3rd and then beyond. And I'm going to close out with some powerful words from the U.S. Youth Poet Laureate, Amanda Gorman, who at the SEIU National Convention in early August read a poem that she had written for that convention. And I'm just going to read the last 3 lines because I think it really defines what the next 50 some days are about. And she closed with this, and I want to close with it. How will we win? We will win how we have always won. We get to work. So as Pedro mentioned, there will be links on this video for people to volunteer to get to work. That's our challenge. That is our path. That is how we will make the way between now and November 3rd and then beyond. And that is how we will make this country better for every single person. Again, no matter what your skin color is, what your religion is, where you're from, what zip code you're in, that's how we're going to do it. We're going to get to work. And again, thank you to everyone who spoke earlier and joined us today. Thank you to our COPE committee and our board members who spent well over 20 hours on all these endorsements. I want to thank all of our members who are watching for all of your work you do every single day to make this the work sites better, your employers better, our cities better, our state better, and our country and our world better. So thank you all. And with that, we'll wrap it up.